Hello there my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online, and first up for my tell-all reviews on the couples in depth, we're going to talk about Ed and Liz. As you know, Ed offends all 5 senses of anyone around him, and he displays this very adeptly during this tell-all. And what about Liz? Well, as per usual, she's busy playing the sympathy card. But guys, I've got to tell you, whilst I do feel sorry for her, to some extent, my pity is capped at about 20 or 30%, because she's still with this poisonous little man. Unfortunately, Liz doesn't realise that it's better to have loved and lost than to spend her whole life with somebody like Ed. For if nothing else, this tell-all proves to us that Ed is nothing more than a game player. If you say otherwise, you're either Ed or you're delusional. And so for all those out there who agree with Big Ed, let's call them knobs, for all the knobs out there, here is why. This tell-all demonstrates perfectly why nothing good can come from being with Big Ed. Thank you to all those who have subscribed to my channel. I really do appreciate it. But if you've yet to do so, please just press that big red button marked subscribe and make eBird a very happy eBird. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to smash that like button. Right, so without further ado, I give you Big Ed and Liz. So first up, the focus was Ed and Liz. And the couple explain they're no longer living together. And Liz tells us she's loving her independence. Liz, I think you mean interdependence. You're loving your interdependence. For it's clear for all to see that Liz cannot function on her own. And Sean asks why the two have decided to live separately, and Ed tells us earnestly he just had to get rid of Liz. And he said, I was feeling smothered. What? Feeling smothered? Oh Ed, you'd feel a lot less smothered if you tried for once in your life to get a shirt that fits. It's literally bursting at the seams. And Liz tells us he kicked her out with 5 days' notice. And Ed said that's because we were fighting every day. But the whole of the cast are really upset at the fact that he kicked her out with 5 days' notice and she had to couch surf. And this is the first indication that the cast are not necessarily going to be on Ed's side. And guys, we can see straight away Ed starts looking very uncomfortable when people suggest that he was out of order, kicking her out before she had somewhere to go. But wait, what's this? Shaida seems to have something to say. She seems particularly incensed that it was deemed to be Big Ed's house, even though they're renting, and that he was able to throw her out. Well guys, I'm always interested in what Shaida's got to say. She runs her own relationship so well that she really is the oracle. Come on now, Shaida, give us your pearls of wisdom.
Liz, listen, let me tell you something, give you some advice. When you get married to this guy, you have to be bold like me. My house. Take ownership of that property, because if he's going to marry you, you have to start moving more bold.
What? You're trying to tell us that you believe that Bilal's house is in any way your house? Shaida, are you actually for real? You've actually signed a legal document, otherwise known as a prenuptial agreement, to say that whatever he had before your marriage is still his in the event that you split up. You have actually signed all your rights to his property away. Guys, does she even know what it is that she's signed? You can say my house as much as you want. It's not your house, never has been, isn't now, never will be. Bilal went out of his way to ensure that that house is his and will remain his no matter what. And you signed in agreement. Why are you giving it the large one to Liz now? Guys, Shaida's absolutely delusional. Shaida, my love, we've all been watching. We know you don't have shit that was Bilal's. And then Liz lets everybody know that she only sees Ed every other night. And regardless of the situation, that is set in stone. She stays at his or he stays at hers. So she's paying for somewhere, and every other night she trundles over to Ed's and stays the night at his. Guys, I really couldn't make it up. And because of this one night on, one night off rule, they're actually staying whilst in New York in separate hotel rooms. What? Everybody thinks this is ridiculous, and that includes me. Ed tells us because of this arrangement, their relationship is the best it's ever been. Ed, it's always been absolute dog shit. It's been one of the worst relationships I've ever borne witness to. So that statement right there means literally nothing. And then both Ed and Liz argue about who's the most jealous. And Liz said, even though Ed falls out with me, he's always chased me. Really, Liz? Well, you wouldn't have to run very fast to get away. In fact, she could saunter away and Ed would have no chance of catching her. So it would suggest to me that you're exactly where you want to be. And then we welcome to the stage Rich, and it's one of Ed's oldest friends. And Liz sits with her back to him. Why, you might ask? Because apparently Rich always told Ed that he should leave Liz. And Rich denies this in the strongest terms. Guys, it's just as I thought. Ed offers this up when he wants to leave Liz, and because he's too lily-livered and pathetic to actually say it himself, he says, my mum says that I should leave you, or Rich says that I should leave you. I don't know much about this Rich, but intrinsically I believe him. Why? Because I believe anyone and everyone over Big Ed. And they argue back and forth, and then Ed says that when they split up, Liz threatens that she'll sleep with other guys. Oh Ed, don't worry about that. The other guys have got to agree to it first. If any of them have seen the shit show that is Liz, they won't want to. And Ed says that Liz has always been in toxic and fucked up relationships. Yes, that's correct. And the most toxic and fucked up one is right here before us. But I have to say, listening to what Rich has to say, he's just advising Ed that this relationship cannot and will not work. He does seem to be looking out for Ed's best interest. And I think the main time that Rich said, you've got to finish with this girl, was when she recorded him berating her and she released it to the internet. Rich knew at that point that she was trying to, well, destroy Ed's credibility. But Rich's main problem is that he doesn't realise Ed doesn't have any credibility, so no harm done. But then, in an all too familiar turn of events, Liz tells the rest of the castmates that she caught Ed on a dating app.
Liz, do you think Ed has been seeing anybody else since you two separated, since you moved out?
I don't know if he's been seeing anybody else, but I know he was on a dating app.
And strangely, Ed responds to this by saying, yeah, Liz has got nothing better to do than spy on me. And Liz divulges that it was an Asian dating website. And Sean was a little bit quicker than me, guys, on this one, because she went, oh, an Asian dating website. Is that your preference? And Ed said, yes, that's kind of what he likes. And then Liz said, I knew what his preference was before I got together with him. And Ed looked at the ceiling and then tried to lie and say, well, I was on that dating app like 18 months ago. And Liz said, me and my mum sat up and we created a profile. And when we did so, we discovered that Ed was on it 1 hour before I went round to his house and 2 hours after I left. But this whole storyline had me bored as an MF because Liz, you're still sitting next to him. You know what he's been doing, trying to search for other women, yet you're still dating him. You are still with him. And Ed tries to deny the whole dating app thing, but he was, how can I say, less than convincing. At this point, most of the castmates feel sorry for Liz, but I just feel sorry for the women of Southeast Asia. Ed's back on the prowl. But what came next really was an absolute bombshell. Sean asked Ed if he'd spoken to Rose lately, and he said, no, I don't think so. And she said, are you sure you haven't spoken to her? And he said, I haven't spoken to Rose. And then when she pressed him again, he finally said, well, I'd have to look back through my text messages, but I don't think so. Please welcome to the stage, Rose. And Ed, this is what you call karma. And Rose confirmed to everybody that he'd been messaging her and asking for FaceTimes.
Has Ed messaged you or spoken to you the last couple months? Yeah.
Oh, Ed, you're nothing but a liar. Ed has the same relationship with reality that cheesy Cheetos have with a roast dinner. But worst of all, he asked to visit her in the Philippines. Apparently, he misses the rat. Guys, do you remember that rat? Do you remember the shower scene and the rat? Hilarious. And so Ed then said, I did speak to her actually. Yes, I did. Of course you did. Here are the text messages to prove it. And Liz read them out. And as soon as she finished, she said, Ed, did you or did you not just say that you have not spoken to Rose?
Did he not just say that he hasn't spoken to her? Did you? Say yes or no. Did you or did you not just say I have not spoken to her?
Me no speak English.
Me no speaker English? Ed has nothing to say, so he makes what he thinks is some sort of joke. Proof, if ever we needed it, that he has no way out of this one at the moment. But I can see his little pea brain ticking over, working out how he's going to get himself out of this. And then in a rare dip from form, Sean decided to do her job and she called Ed out. She said, you remember every single little thing that Liz has done or said in the last 2 years, but you can't remember at all if you called Rose or when. And Liz said, I have no more respect. I can't do this. And Big Ed said, fine. And he asked Liz in front of everybody for his engagement ring back. And just like a fool, Liz takes it off and returns it to him. You have got to be kidding. I'd have thrown it across the bloody studio. Ed, you can scramble on your hands and knees and freaking find it yourself. Ed really is the embodiment of pettiness. Even Kim agrees. And she said, oh my god, Ed, you're a fucking dick, yo. And Liz said, I'm done. But unfortunately, we know she isn't. Liz decides to take a leaf from Angela's playbook and she storms off the set. And then Sean decides that they should cut for a break. And everyone says they think Ed is a complete dick. Except for, of course, who? Oh, Bilal. And Bilal patted him on his back and asked him if he was okay. No, he's not okay. He's a fucking liar, Bilal, much like yourself. And Big Ed afterwards said that he does owe Liz an apology for asking her for the ring back. Oh, good Lord, really? You owe her an apology for throwing her out. You owe her an apology for being on dating websites. You owe her an apology for lying in her face. You owe her an apology for trying to meet up with your ex-girlfriend Rose. And you owe her an apology just for being you. And guys, I just wondered to myself, how has shame not destroyed Ed by this point? But outside, Big Ed did his toxic best and he said, it's so frustrating that Liz tries to play the victim and she's not. She kind of is today, but yeah, I get what you're saying. And he said she managed to turn everything around. No, Ed, you did that by setting up dating profiles and by calling Rose and getting caught. Oh, good Lord, Ed has less appeal than zero. And then Jenny wades in with some excellent advice. And she turned to Liz and she said, don't get married. It wouldn't last, there's no way. And she's right, Jenny. Well said, you're correct. And so that's it from this part of the tell-all. TLC have let Ed be his toxic best. But the worst is yet to come. Angela manages to paint Michael as the evildoer and get everyone onto her side somehow. But guys, let me know what you think with regard to Big Ed and Liz. Is Liz the fool at this point for still sticking by him? If you know he's on dating websites looking for other women, why are you even there? Even if it is every other night, all you're doing is allowing him every other night to look for other women. You're a fool. And should TLC, for once and for all, dispense of Big Ed and his shenanigans? Or TLC allowing someone to terrorise another human being just to still be on the show? TLC have some responsibility for this, I believe. Guys, let me know what you think and I'll get on with my next video. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you very soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.